Guys Who Love Sports. We're a show that supports men that are going through mental and physical issues, and we can help take their minds on what they're going through for an hour, and you help somebody, and they help somebody. We all do a little. Nobody has to do a lot. Hey, Alana. My name is Chuck Burge, here with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. Robert, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir. How about you?
Great. Welcome back from vacation.
Thank you.
Did you have a good time?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm almost a full-fledged member of the Melanoma Club, so, just waiting to cash in all those chips.
That's a beautiful thing. Speaking of beautiful things, we are here at Miller's Ale House tonight, and as we are every Wednesday at 5 o'clock and at 7 o'clock for the Owl Show. And you know what? I ordered Mimi's Fiesta Bowl for dinner. Robert, what did you get?
I'm shocked. When did you change up?
Last week.
7 months ago.
3 months ago.
Yeah, I don't think 3 is correct anymore.
Okay. 4, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
How about you?
I went steak and shrimp.
Oh, look at you.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's got that nice. It's not a big piece of steak. Got some, some good deep fried salted shrimp.
Now, do you eat the tails off the shrimp?
No, I am
dip
what I
those in
like
the
to call
cocktail
a
sauce and
human
eat them.
being.
I will dip
I'm
those
not
in
a
cocktail
psychopath.
sauce and eat them. So that's
I
pretty
used,
good.
I used to know this guy, and he didn't open gum or Starburst. And it got to the point to where people were like, go buy stuff and go, here, have one. Is it too difficult for you?
Liechtenstein, Larry, what did you get tonight?
I got a bacon cheeseburger tonight.
Ah, changing things out. Changing things up. All right. Well,
Larry isn't scared of the menu.
he's very inconsistent.
Chuck is.
No, Chuck is.
I'm not afraid. I'm just in love with Mimi. So,
He's got a pen pal.
Do you even know Mimi?
my mother was called Mimi. Yeah.
Mimi lives in North Dakota. He's been pen paling her for the last
years.
7 years or 7
Send
months.
me another Fiesta Bowl.
Your
There you
Fiesta
go.
Bowl's like no other.
All right.
Now
Speaking
that
of
Prime
great-
Burger.
Speaking of great places to go, let's do our first commercial.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castro Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operator business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castro products.
And we certainly appreciate Brian and his humor. He actually put one up last week that I would eat. I think you commented on it too. The gravy and biscuits pizza.
No.
I think I would
No.
do that.
I was in the middle of the ocean, thank goodness,
I would do
and did
that.
not see that.
You
No.
wouldn't do that? They said with a Bisquick crust. I think that would be pretty good.
It might not be too bad.
All right. Speaking of not too bad, the sheriff is in town. Chaz, sheriff, everybody. A big round of applause for Chaz. Listen to that crowd.
They're all cheering for me?
Yeah,
No,
that's
that was
all
all
you,
of
man.
them.
How about that? New
Yeah.
sheriff in town over
The
here.
new sheriff,
Never
the
heard
new
that
kid
one,
in
have you?
No,
town.
never.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did y'all know if I was a sheriff, I'd be sheriff? Haven't heard that one either.
No, but I do have a friend named Casey Poe, and she married a guy named Billy Casey, and now her name's Casey Casey. So that's pretty cool. All right,
Casey Po Casey.
Casey Poe Casey. So we're going to get into our greatest athlete conversation. Ought to be fairly simple today. Number 43, very few lists. Dennis Eckersley from the Golden A's day. Troy Polamalu, or Tiny Troy, is that what they call him? in the
Polamalu?
commercial? Yeah, that's the one. Polamalu. That's what they call him in the commercial, right? Tiny Troy.
Well, that's because he is Tiny Troy. He's on your scalp checking for lice and flakes.
And then Steve Foley and Brad Doherty and Darren Sproles, the little mighty ball.
I used to
Cannonball.
love watching Sproles. Sproles was such an exciting guy. You know, you had LT, Tomlinson doing his thing, and then all of a sudden they'd bring out Sproles, and you go, why in the heck would you have a change of pace guy when you had the best running back? And then boom, there goes Sproles. That's why.
Yeah, he started with the Chargers and went to the Saints. Isn't that right? Did he wind up some time with the Saints?
Sounds about right.
You just might be forgetting the best number 43 of all time.
Uh-oh, can't wait.
The King.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Richard Petty.
I love him. He's my favorite. I want him on every week.
He does a race car driver every week.
Oh, does he?
Adam's
Yes.
a big race car guy. I've never seen Adam's face so happy as we see the King.
I love
Both
him.
twins.
I want him
Both
on
of all time.
every week.
Okay, just for the record, Everybody heard you the first time you said you loved him. After that, it got
I
a little,
love him.
It's a little
Now it's a little
awkward.
scary.
Cringy, I believe. Cringeworthy.
Cringeworthy. That's a good
You know,
word.
Eck is a phenomenal pitcher. When he was a Cub, he didn't wear that number, and when he was an Indian, he didn't wear that number. So it is in my
Another one of those things.
but most of his great years, he was wearing 43. Troy, I believe, wore 43 the whole time, and he was a bad man. But
He's a bad mamma jamma.
I don't know. Did you know that if you took first place off of the NASCAR list and you added number 2 and number 3 together, that it still wouldn't reach his total?
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be within 3. David Pearson and Jeff Gordon would
Oh,
come.
you hear about Richard Petty?
96 and 94 wins apiece.
It was like 102 and 194 or something like that.
Yeah, I think Jeff has 94.
So,
Gordon
but,
has 94.
Yes.
but number 2 and number 3 can't equal number 1. And then if you took the current drivers, which this one's a little bit because Jimmy Johnson's included, and he only drives like what?
4 races a year.
Four
yeah.
races a year. But if you take him and you add in the next 2 still current drivers, which would be Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin, they have exactly 200 wins. So it's one of those stats. To me, it's there's a lot of stats. Wilt scored 100. Man, any of these guys could score 100. On the right day, somebody's going to put in 125. 200 wins, never going to happen. Second probably on my list to Cy Young and his 511 wins.
Yeah.
So I'm going the King.
Wow.
I'm going STP.
Wow, look at Adam. He's so happy. I've never seen Adam this happy. Larry, check his pulse. Is he okay?
It's cheesing.
So, would the King be yours?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So
That's
you a
what I
big
was
NASCAR
bringing to-
fan?
Yeah, I was raised on NASCAR. I think the F1's got a better market
Oh,
presence
good
right
Lord.
now.
No, don't say something like that. He's going to talk about how much he loves you again.
But yes, NASCAR definitely was raised on NASCAR race. I was a Jeff Gordon fan myself.
I was too. I
growing
like
up.
Gordon.
Hated him.
I'm a Jeff Gordon
I can see
fan.
why you
Anybody,
hated him,
anybody but Gordon. That's pretty much how I rolled.
Right.
Was it?
I bet
Yeah,
you're a
I hate
Kyle
it.
Busch fan. Actually.
Yeah.
Actually, as goofy as Kyle is, I always liked Kyle way more than Kurt. Kurt, you could tell was like
Kurt was angry.
Yeah, Kurt was just a kid who got punched a lot. But yeah, hated. I won't use my nickname for him.
Who were some of the
wonderful
other
show.
racing 43s? Who took it over for Richard?
Eric Jones, just off the top of my
Jones is
head,
40.
Eric
Almirola.
Jones drove the 43. Eric Almirola drove
That's
the
what I was
43.
thinking of, Almirola. Yeah.
John Andretti drove the 43.
Now it's the guy that's in the McDonald's. He's in the McDonald's car for a brief second.
Trying to think of who else drove the 43.
It's amazing
I
that
think-
somebody still drives the 43. In my
Eric
very
Jones
humble-
drives the 43 now.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody should drive 43. Nobody should about drive 3. Move
Yeah.
on. If you want to throw.
If they
I'm
do
almost
that-
letting it slip with my nickname for Gordon, but if you want to throw 24 in there, so be it too.
Richard Petty is the reason that they had 43 cars that started every race.
Absolutely.
They limited the field to 43 because Richard Petty was 43.
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace is who I was thinking of.
Oh, he's
He drove
23.
the 43 for a little bit, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
I think Jeff Andretti might have drove the 43 as well.
What do you got, Chuck?
What do I got? I was never a big fan of this team, but they won a lot of championships, and I'm going with Tiny Troy.
Troy was the leader of that defense, and unlike a couple of the other guys, I want to throw Greg Lloyd, and then who's the guy who always got suspended, always hit somebody
Oh, I
late.
know who you're talking about.
No, no.
Lambert?
Ryan Shazier?
No, he's
No.
a Steeler from the last 20 years who
Ryan Shazier.
Wasn't
who was
Lambert.
thrown-
Lambert was before that.
Correct. But this guy's been fined and thrown out of so many games for
like against Cincinnati, hit somebody.
always
yeah.
hitting somebody late.
Yeah.
You know, everything's a dirty.
Well, Vontez Burfict played for Cincinnati, but
Yeah.
Correct, but
No,
no,
this guy played for the Steelers, and I know who Robert's talking
But
about.
you know, that could have been what you would consider the leader of the defense, but he was always suspended, so it always came down to Troy. Troy's the man.
So I was always against the Steelers just because of who they are. Wasn't a huge Bradshaw fan, but was a big Mike Webster fan, who was the center, 52 for a long time. Will be my number 52 when we get to 52.
I can't wait to those days.
Yeah, well, you'll have to wait till like next spring.
That is not true.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get there before then. But yeah, I got to go with Troy Polamalu with a small nod to Eckersley. The rest of the guys, Steve Foley was a decent. Brad Daugherty was great. Now he's a NASCAR guy, right?
He is a NASCAR owner.
He's a NASCAR owner. Yeah.
He's a North Carolina boy.
Yeah.
You know, it's always funny when you see somebody. It's like, wow, I never thought a 7-foot black man would like. I'm from North Carolina, dude. This is what I grew
Now,
up
he's not
watching.
part of. He's not part of Michael Jordan's team, right?
no.
He's got his
he
own
owns,
team.
He owns Doherty something racing.
Yeah, and who is his driver?
Ricky Stenhouse.
Stenhouse Jr. That's right. Yeah, who used to date Danica Patrick.
Yeah, Ricky Spinhouse.
Yeah, really, really good. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, pretty short conversation on 43. I agree that the king is the king of NASCAR racing, and we will go with that. But we'll move on to a Joshua Smith commercial if Robert can.
Yeah, I was just
Have you
trying
got
to.
something else to pull up?
No, I was just trying to look to see who the Steeler was always getting ejected.
Oh,
was.
okay.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury law. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095.
And we thank you, Joshua Smith, for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. Adam, you have to go to the restroom?
No, is it
Oh.
James Harrison or
There you
Lamar
go.
Woodley?
James
James
Harrison.
Harrison.
That's who it was. Yeah.
That's who I thought it was.
Incredible player, but man, you know,
A beast. Yeah, he used to beat everybody.
Plays
up.
over. Not yet. One more.
Not as far as I'm concerned. All right, so it's time to move on to our next segment. Are we ready? It's the Olympics, and we're now in full tilt. The opening ceremonies are over, and we have amassed some medals. I think we're number one in the medals right now, aren't
Total
we?
medals.
We have the
total medals.
most medals.
USA.
We don't have the most gold
USA.
medals.
No, we have the most
USA.
total medals. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's one of those stats where when you look at it early, I believe right now as I pull it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Show
we're
off.
in 7th place for gold medals.
For gold medals.
And, you know, I'm not really worried about France, Great Britain, South Korea, or Australia holding us out for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't
you know,
either.
Now, China at the top of it, you know, that could, you know, obviously it's China. They
got
have
us by a billion
a lot
people.
of people.
Right.
So what have you watched so far? What have you observed?
I watched some swimming, and that one girl just dominated. You know, when you talk about, you know, the Olympics are all by 0.12 seconds, and I believe, and I cannot think of her name right
Katie
now.
Ledecky?
No.
Is she Australian?
I believe her finals are tomorrow, and I believe she might be Australian. But she, you know, for the top 8, 2 through 7 is separated by 0.12, and she beat everybody by over a half a second. You know, and it was like she glided all the way to it.
There was
So-
a French swimmer that beat the other guys by 6 seconds. It was phenomenal. Marchand,
Leon Marchand.
Yeah,
1,500 or something crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
Which is still crazy, but
yeah.
That was the 400 that he won by 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Was it?
I thought it was the 400 freestyle.
You could look that up, but I don't think you can beat anybody.
No.
Not those guys. Those guys are all
Maybe it was the 800.
Yeah.
800 maybe.
I think it was 4 laps. So that's 400.
That'd be-
no, that'd be the 800.
That'd be the 800.
Yeah, I think it was the 800. I watched the men's volleyball team
four
play
laps.
Argentina.
4 laps is a 200.
Yeah.
So
So 8 laps would be the
400.
400.
I don't know what it was.
It was a
Math's
long
mapping.
race.
Yeah.
each length is 50 meters.
I watched handball.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love handball. The only time I ever watch handball.
The only time I'll watch half of these sports, but I love it. If somebody's willing to pay for somebody to fly to Paris and wear a flag, regardless of what country they're from, I'm hyped. I love it.
Fencing was really cool.
We won a medal in
We
fencing.
won
didn't
we won a gold medal in
Yeah.
fencing.
Don't
Handball,
mess with my foil.
handball's a sport that I feel like you could find 5 guys in this bar right now, and we might be able to field a full team and be ready to rock
that
and
leads
roll.
me to the question that I want to ask you and Robert both. If you had 4 years to train for an Olympic event, which one would you want to do? And that's all you had to do was train for this Olympic event.
Am I supposed to win? Or do I just
Well-
want to compete in an event? Because
you tell me.
Well, I mean, most likely at my ripe age, I'm probably not going to become a world-class swimmer or diver at this point.
Or sprinter, maybe. Might pull a hammy.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have qualified for that 30 years ago. But I don't know.
Cornhole.
It could be an
Not in the
Olympic.
Olymp-
It could
It's
be
not in the
soon though.
Olympics.
I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to play on the basketball team, but I don't see that at my even riper age than you.
But realistically with the basketball team, if we put KD and LeBron and a couple other guys out there, they could probably get you the ball and you could score a few points rather easily.
I could get some shots up. anyway.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
How about you, Chaz?
If I could play any sport,
Yeah, 4 years to train.
4
That's
years.
all you're going to do. You're not going to have to work anywhere. All you do is 4 years of training.
I have a background in lacrosse. Is lacrosse Olympics?
No.
No, it's a shame, but
Are we doing baseball this year or next go round?
I think it's next go round.
Next
Yeah,
go
it's not
round.
this go.
But it was, and then now it's not, and then it's going to be. That's the thing about Olympic. I watched South Korea and Japan play in the Atlanta Olympics. At the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. So I got a question for you guys.
Well, wait. Let's get Chaz's answer first.
I thought it was
It
lacrosse.
was lacrosse.
but it's not an event, so it's got to be something.
So if it's got to be any event, I think for all the pride and glory, I mean, if football could be a thing, that would be pretty.
It's
cool.
not-
Flag
I know,
football will
flag
be in the
football.
Olympics in
Okay.
28.
I think Chaz would rather get on the committee to put some new sports on.
Here we go. We'll start
There you
making up
go.
a new sport, and then I'll be able to, nominate myself for
All
a
right.
new sport.
Curling.
Yeah, Adam said
sleeping.
before. the
Curling.
show,
I could train for
That-
4 years and win a gold medal in curling.
Probably not, because the kid from Canada has been doing it longer. But yes, realistically speaking, that is something that if you spent that much time, you could get pretty good at. It's like throwing darts,
Yeah.
cornhole.
Yeah, I tell you what, if it was a Winter Olympics, I'd choose luge after listening to Joel's story
Yeah.
last week. That was really cool. Did you see that at all?
Nope.
Yeah.
I saw the first 2 minutes and
So he
cracked
was.
up.
Oh, he was 11th in the Olympic trials in the luge.
Luge is
What a speed, man! I love speed.
that is for true
Daredevils.
thrill seekers.
Right.
Yeah. So you have your Olympic trivia question for us?
I do. Largest country by population to never win an Olympic medal.
Largest country by population to have never won
An Olympic medal of any sort.
bronze, silver, or gold, right?
Bronze, silver, or gold. Winter or summer. And I know you're way down the list right now, and I'm just going to mess with you and say it's the 7th biggest country in the world. So blow that out of you. How is that even possible? If I had my way and I won the lottery today, I would move to that country and I would open up my own Olympic training.
Mexico.
And I would do exactly what you're talking about. I would just train people for an event. You're going to win it. You're going to be the greatest person in Bangladesh history.
Wow.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, 7th largest country on the planet. Never won
Wow.
a single medal. It's amazing when you think about
Hey,
it.
has Liechtenstein ever won a medal, Larry?
Yes, they have.
Look at that.
Liechtenstein has won more than one medal, and here's
Several in fencing is their big one.
there you go. And they probably competed in a couple downhill skiing over the years, depending on the qualifying and everything else.
Yeah,
But,
that's a good question.
I thought it was amazing. I'm like, how can you have a country of 170 million? Where
Not one.
Not
Not one.
nobody.
All right, so another question is, who do you think has the most, what college has the most athletes in this year's Olympics?
I saw this. I don't remember the answer.
Is it SEC?
No.
I would
Oh.
say it's ACC or former Pac-10 would be my two guesses.
Yeah.
Oh, can I? Is it UCLA?
No. They are number 2 with 17 current
Olympians.
Olympian athletes.
It's not IU. It's not Purdue. I know that.
Number 4, tied at number 4 is
Carol-
Texas and Penn State.
Carolina, USC, Stanford.
Number 3 is USC. Number 1 is Stanford. Stanford's got 38 compared to UCLA's 17.
The thing about Stanford, you got to always remember, and I know everybody only cares about football and basketball, but them going to the ACC, they dominate women's water polo and men's water polo. Every other sport there is, they dominate.
And that's
So-
probably where a lot of their athletes are in those sports.
Absolutely,
Those-
absolutely.
Probably beach volleyball too.
Soccer.
Yeah.
Football.
So I thought that was a little interesting.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Some of the weird things that have come out of the Olympics, and not talking about the opening ceremonies at all, was I heard that they may have to turn the triathlon into a biathlon. Did you hear about that?
No,
Because the Seine River is so
Bacteria.
dirty.
as of today, it tested fine and
did
it's
it?
back on.
Okay. Well, that would have been weird, wouldn't it? I mean, could you really say you got the medal in the biathlon?
People were like, wow, you're a skier and a shooter? No, no. The other biathlon.
Yeah. That's
Summer
crazy.
Olympics.
Yeah. Summer Olympics are nuts. So,
That's good because that's one of the true greatest. If you're trying to see who's really in tune with their body,
yeah.
you don't.
They were literally talking about leaving the swimming portion out.
Which is just so grueling. It's the very first event in the triathlon, and most people would die in the water before they could ever compete. Not to mention these guys are going to do 100 miles on a bike and run a marathon. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
it is crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm looking forward to most now. Basketball is basketball. I'd be interested to see how the golf tournament comes out, how the golf medals come out. Hate to see Coco Gauff get beat out. Great to see Nadal and Djokovic play the other day. I got to watch some of that match. Nadal looks like he's just done. I mean, that was their 60th match, I think.
He's done picking his nose.
Yeah, and Djokovic has now won 31-29 over Nadal, and I think that was done.
Well, I'm going to say that most excited thing ready to watch is Friday at 4:10 when our very own David Haw
Or Daniel.
will be competing in Group A. Group A goes off at 4:10. Group B goes off at 5:35. I looked up the stat for world record for the hammer throw.
Yeah.
And does anybody know what, if you look at it, it becomes rather glaring? Like your eyes start crossing, like, I don't know what to think of this.
What's glaring about the record?
Well, the record was set by Yuri Sujika from the USSR.
Yeah.
And man, he threw it like nobody else that day, right? But let's look at the record. I'm just going to give you I'm just going to give you dates. This is starting at the longest throw ever accepted by the world,
Yep.
all the way down. You ready? These are the years that happened. 86, 86, 84, 86, 86, 86, 84, 84, 84, 86, 88, 84, 86. Then when you get to 14th place, you get a 2005.
Yeah.
So, do we think there might have been a little doping going on in the mid-'80s? I mean, we know it was. It's clear it was happening and everything, but it's pretty wild when you look at these stats. So when you're always thinking about somebody breaking a world record, and it could happen at any time. Nobody's gotten near any of those records.
He broke
in
some
40,
record that had been
indoor
set
record.
for 24 years or something like
He
that.
broke
Long
an indoor.
time.
He broke the indoor record. But
So what is the record?
the all-time record is 86.74 meters, which is 284 feet 6 inches.
Thank you for the Americanized version of that. I appreciate
Luckily,
that.
they put it in parentheses next to it for me.
What's a kilometer?
2.2
It's meters, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, you get all the way down to the guy who just did it, and 278. He's 7 feet behind. And only one guy has been within 7 feet. So it's just kind of an odd record where normally you'd be thinking whoever's the best in the world is getting ready to set a world record, and it does not appear like that will happen for a little while.
Well, Daniel won the trials, the Olympic trials in Oregon, and I'm glad you told me that, because when I looked up at the Olympic schedule, they weren't throwing until Sunday.
Sunday is the finals.
Okay, so he opens. So the
Friday-
preliminaries will be Friday at 4.
Correct. There's only 8 guys in the competition, so they had the first group of 4 and the second group of 4. That'll be Friday, and then finals are on Sunday.
So we need to call Coach Kell and see if there's a watch party anywhere. I would love to go watch that somewhere. That would be fun.
It's amazing, and just to know he's there, and he's reading about the pool or the river, and he's thinking, I don't have to get in it. I can throw it over. I can throw it
You know
over
who
it.
Daniel Hall is?
He's from Kennesaw.
He lives out on West Anton Road. That's right. I told you about him when we met
Yeah.
out at Evan Ingram's camp. Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, so he threw 2 years at KSU and then 2 years at Alabama.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm not throwing anything that far by any means.
I can throw a fit about that far.
I mean, when you realistically think about it, I don't think. I just thought of something fun. If we were to ever get the Adam Olympics off the ground, we could see, can Adam throw a frisbee as far as the longest hammer throw of all time? That's a heck of a throw. That's like a football field for I'm betting
longer.
I can't
Yeah.
throw a football. Or
Just
I can't
under.
throw a football that far.
Yeah.
No, correct. Oh, you
Joe
definitely
Milton.
can.
Joe Milton can throw a
Joe
football
Milton
that
threw
far.
100 yards, yeah.
Joe Milton can barely throw a football further than Sergey threw a.
You know what he'll be throwing this year? He'll be throwing a clipboard about 5 feet. That's all Joe Milton's going to do this year. But we'll see.
He's a Patriot, right?
Yeah.
I think he's going to take that job, but that's
Yeah.
for another day.
That's,
oh no!
Well, no, it's
maybe
for
that's
later
the end of
today.
this
It might
day.
be the end of this day. That's right.
Who knows?
So very excited about the Olympics. With 27, is that where we are now? Medals.
Yeah, I think so.
And by far my favorite athlete
28.
so
We're already
far
at 28.
is Simone Biles. Great athlete. Fun to watch her do her dance routine, floor routine, and all the vaults and all that, and the pommel horse. Crazy good athlete.
She's incredible. I know this is probably your last one because gymnasts don't dominate in their 30s, but I was having a really hard time watching that stuff last night because the American announcers, wow, is that the money? And it's like they just came off of the, on the uneven bars, and they're not sticking their landings. There's all these 2-foot hops, and they're like, wow, have you ever seen anything better? Yeah, I think I have. I understand it's Simone Biles, but we can call it what it is. It's her 7,000th best, dismount ever. So,
Yo, we're talking about the pommel horse. We had that one guy. I think he's from the local Georgia area.
The guy they call the nerd?
Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He had one job, and it was to do the pommel horse. I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey,
and
he
he
was part of
meditated
a-
the whole time.
He was part of a bronze winning team, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
First time.
and that's the way those teams usually are. You're good at 2 events. You specialize in one. You specialize in one, and
And Simone's a goat. He does it all.
She can do it all. She
Right.
can do it all.
That's using your noodle, right? Hey, speaking of using your noodle, why don't we do a brain train commercial?
Man, I tell you, do you?
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention? Sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit BrainTrainCentersInc.com.
And we're back. Thank you, Meg and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at Biller's Ale House every Wednesday afternoon. It's a hot one today. We're happy to have Chaz Sheriff with us. As always, Robert Backwood, Larry Lichtenstein, the engineer, and Adam Crooks, the used-to-be intern. How do you like that, Adam? The used-to-be intern.
Used to be intern.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, so we are now moving on to what is our favorite section, or at least mine, college football. College football is a little over 3 weeks away. Last week, I don't know if you know this or not, last week was the last week that there's no football until Super Bowl's over. Football
Or
starts
poor wives and
tomorrow
girlfriends.
night. Tomorrow night, the Hall of Fame game, Texans and the Bears, I think. Probably won't be any starters playing.
No.
But it's football.
But it's football.
That's football. So we're starting up. And we got our Fantasy Football League draft here in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the show. But right now, ESPN came up with a list. Robert, have you seen this list? You
I
have that list pulled up?
I have it pulled up. I had not when I read your agenda, I did not know anything about the list, and then I pulled it up, not even knowing that there was a list until I was like, "Oh, ESPN just came up with a list." That's why we're talking about this. But
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It is. Hey, Aubrey. Everybody say hey to Aubrey. It is interesting. I start at the bottom. Let's start at number 25 and work our way up and see, do they belong in the top 25 or do they belong in the top 10?
Do you want to start with the first? I have the first 10 out. Do you want that list as well, or do you want to just do the
What do you
25?
mean the first 10 out?
They have
26 through 35?
Yeah.
Correct.
Tell us who they are.
26 through 35. CMC,
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey,
Marcus Mariota,
Oregon,
Trevor Lawrence,
Clemson.
Luke Kuechly,
Ooh,
Boston College linebacker,
BC, that's right.
Derek Johnson,
Miami.
Texas,
Texas
Texas.
linebacker.
Calvin Johnson,
Oh, looking at us on the wall.
GT.
RG3,
Baylor.
Baylor, yeah. Robert Gallery, Iowa offensive tackle.
Yep.
Dwight Freeney,
Boy, that guy was good. Peyton doesn't get to some of those big games without Freeney.
Yeah. Freeney was Colts, but where did he go to college?
Syracuse,
He was an
Syracuse.
Orangeman.
and Michael Crabtree,
Oh, wide receiver, Texas A&M?
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
He was
Michael
from
Michael
Lubbock.
Crabtree is 26.
All right. That's kind of wild. So nowhere in the top 25 is Johnny Football.
No,
Not
he's
even
not in
down
the top 35.
That's crazy.
And that's where you can take a list like this and just stop trying to treat it like it's gold, smart,
Or law.
intelligent, any thought. I don't like Johnny Football. I like Johnny Football when he's hanging out with Gronk. But if you're going to tell me he's not one of the 25 best,
Well, you know what this 25
Where's
list tells me?
Tua?
I know. You know what this 25 list tells me? That our opinion's just as good as anybody else's on ESPN.
no, my
Our
opinion
opinion
is
is
way
better.
Yeah.
My opinion is way better because once again, you don't have to like Johnny Football to know
What
where
he
his
did for
spot.
the game.
And I always like a good list that does not try to say, "Well, were you a good pro?" Well, we don't care if you were a good pro. What did you do
That's
for the
not what the
college
list was.
game?
That's right.
And
And that's why some of these people belong. I think, well, let's just start with 25. Jonathan Taylor, does he belong on the list?
Yes.
He's a great running back.
Yep. Great running back, Wisconsin. Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Going into the Hall of Fame this year.
He belongs on the list.
Yeah, I mean, he had once again, doesn't have anything to do with pro football, but this guy dominated his entire life, and he deserves to be on the list.
Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
Honey Badger don't care if he's on the list or not.
Is that what he said?
Honey Badger don't care.
Nobody should care if they're on the ESPN list. It just doesn't matter. But thought it was a good discussion point.
He was amazing from LSU. Yeah.
He was, yeah. Will Anderson, linebacker at Alabama. Yep. You don't think so?
Over Michael Crabtree and Trevor Lawrence and Marcus Mariota. And
Definitely over Crabtree.
I'm not saying he's not good.
Yeah, but you're
But
very
Johnny
offensive.
Manziel isn't on the list.
No, you're very offensive minded though.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the defensive players,
Yeah.
but
And there's definitely something to be said. The same way that a Heisman Trophy always leans towards the undefeated team's quarterback. This is Nick Saban's middle linebacker for a couple of years, so he gets a little bit of a nod on
Well,
some of
Will
those
Anderson was drafted 15th this year.
Something. No,
folks.
he was
drafted
top
third 2 years
Oh, that's
ago.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right. Justin Blackman, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. Don't see why he's on the list.
He was amazing at college.
Yeah, he was.
I'm okay with that because once again we like to go. Well, he hasn't done much.
I mean,
This isn't about what he's
two-time
done since.
unanimous,
Oh, no, yeah.
two-time unanimous All-American.
Yeah, Justin Blackman.
Yeah.
Okay. Lamar Jackson, number 20.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
Louisville.
Won a Heisman Trophy. I think that squeaks you into the top 25.
Devonta Smith, also a Heisman Trophy winner. Alabama. Caught that 42-yard touchdown pass against
Second
the
and
Dogs
19.
when they had lost second and 26 or something like that.
Horrible.
I love that. It's one of my favorite plays ever in college football. You're a Bama fan, right?
No, Ole Miss. That's my
Ole
alma
Miss. That's
mater,
right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Rick, my first cool of the day. Okay, Rick Limpert. He's always watching. Who's next?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Oklahoma.
In Texas A&M, and he was really good. He had already signed a multi-million-dollar contract with the Oakland A's.
Oklahoma's got 3 players on this list. Safety Roy Williams is next at number 17.
He was a beast. He was a beast.
Deshaun Watson, number 16, Clemson.
2 natties, right?
Yep. David Pollock was a little surprising to me to be on this list. I just don't know. I mean, he was a decent player, but
again,
again,
three-time first-team All-American.
yeah.
3-time
First-team All-American. Yeah.
All-American. When they decide who the best defense is, he's on the best defense 3 years in a row. So, yeah,
Three-time first-team All-SEC.
correct.
All right. Aaron Donald definitely belongs on the list.
I can remember when he was drafted and nobody wanted to take him. It's like, why is everybody avoiding the big, huge guy who takes up 2 people in the middle of your offensive line?
Yep. Joe Thomas, great offensive tackle with Cleveland, right?
You skip Khalil Mack.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Khalil Mack with Buffalo. Not from your typical Power 4 conference. Khalil Mack out of Buffalo. What are they, the Braves?
They're the
football
They're
team?
the Bulls.
Bulls, that's right, Buffalo Bulls, yeah. Then Joe Thomas from Cleveland, went to Wisconsin. Terrell Suggs from Arizona State.
What a beast.
He was a beast. Larry Fitzgerald from Pittsburgh.
Went back and got his diploma.
Starting our top 10. Very proud of Larry for that. Very cool. Joe Burrow from LSU.
Joe Burrow needs to be higher.
Joe Cool.
Well, but
Joe Burrow had. I mean, I know it was
season.
only one season, but that is one of the greatest passing performances in any season ever in college football.
bar none, absolutely correct. I know you don't hear those words from me very often, but as you said, one. So if we're talking about the best college players for the last 25 years, the guy only had one. He had to run from the other school because he couldn't play there. So,
but it was the greatest season ever.
But that's
Bar
not
none.
what the list says. It's the
Bar none.
greatest athletes, not the one season. But I get your point. It was a great year. Phenomenal year.
I look, and obviously he's still one of the best. I know
think
that's
he's
not part of this conversation.
I think he's a little bit higher than where he should be. Definitely be in the top 25.
But my question for you would be Johnny Football. We're talking about Joe Burrow at number 9. Joe Burrow had possibly the greatest. We'll say it was the greatest season just to say. Johnny Football did it for a few years, and everybody knew what the heck was coming at you, and nobody could stop.
So
Johnny
did Lamar
Football.
Jackson. Lamar Jackson should not be that low.
I could agree with that.
It's that, I know nobody wants to hear it, but when you're running around against Wake Forest as opposed to running around against possibly some bigger schools, they look at it a little differently.
Yeah. Number 8, offensive tackle Bryant McKinnick from Miami.
Big man
Big
thrower.
old boy, yeah. 7, running back Reggie Bush out of USC. Number 6, Tim Tebow out of Florida.
Tebow should be higher than
Way
than
higher,
6.
way higher. And I hate the guy, but there's no way that you can't tell me he's probably the best college athlete in the last 40 years.
Tim
He would've been my
Tebow is
number one.
definitely 1 or 2.
I would agree with that.
Whether it be the speech, whether it be the thing, if I do this in the
Tebow.
middle of something, it's a thing. You know what it is.
The little jump pass that he had that he kind of started.
Tim Tebow was bigger than college football.
He
He
was.
absolutely was,
He
yeah.
was.
Yeah. Number 5, Ed Reed, stud out of Miami. He just retired, didn't he?
He retired 10 years ago.
Going into the Hall
Going
of
to
Fame.
Hall of Fame. That's right. Yeah. Vince Young, quarterback out of Texas.
What a once again, great career, but to have your final game, whenever you can play one of the greatest games of all time as your final game and let the world, remember you for that, it definitely pumps you up the list.
Number 3, Cam Newton, at quarterback out of Auburn.
Cam Newton only had 1 year.
And not going to argue that point. It's very similar to
Cam Newton's year was better than Joe Burrow.
No, there's no way Cam Newton should be above Joe
Cam
Burrow.
Newton.
Zero chance.
And I'm not here to, I'm a devil's advocate. Who are we kidding? Cam Newton could have done that on a couple teams. Joe Burrow could only do that with Jamar Chase and this and this. So because they were different players and running different things, you could have if you put Cam Newton on Ole Miss might have won a title that year. I'm just saying.
All right, number 2, Baker Mayfield.
No.
What an odd one.
Get Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield doesn't deserve to be on the list.
He deserves to be on the list, but for a guy who did not win the title,
He didn't win anything. He won nothing ever. He won 0 playoff games.
How many?
0.
was that 0.0?
No, 0 playoff games. Baker Mayfield's not even top 15.
I would agree. And number 1, actually, none of these top 3 would be in my top 10 at all. Number 1, Ndamukong Suh.
You pronounced that right. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
So is Adam.
Ndamukong Suh, where is Clowney? Because that's the greatest hit I've ever seen in college football.
But that's one
I
hit
know,
in a ball
I'm
game.
just saying that's one hit. But Ndamukong Suh wasn't as powerful as Clowney to me.
Way more powerful and way more consistent. Clowney was always, he's there for a game, he's off for 2 games. He's there for a game, he's off for 3 games.
That's in the pros, though, not for college. He played pretty consistent college.
Not like Ndamukong Suh. The only thing I'm going to give this list credit for is putting a defensive guy on top, because nobody ever wants to put a defensive guy on top. I don't agree with that. I think that's probably a Tebow zone or something like that. But the greatest game,
like Tebow zone.
no, I hate that. Somebody's going to make a T-shirt out of that and make me wear it.
Tebow zone.
The Tebow zone. The greatest game, and I've talked about it on the show before, that I ever watched was the Texas Big 12 championship game, and he threw Colt McCoy around that field. And I mean, there was only one person to block. And it's like, okay, we got to block that guy. Okay, well, you didn't. I saw something on the game. They had it here. Just stupid stats for that game, though. He had 7 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks in the game. And I mean, you knew it was coming, and there's like people just chasing him down. So I love me some Ndamukong Suh, but defensive guy first? Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I would put Tebow at 1 if I had to pick one out of this list.
And Johnny Football's top 10.
Yeah, he would be top 10. Certainly in the top 35. But
Yeah.
Top 2 for people you might want to party with
Adrian
in Vegas.
Peterson.
Yeah. AP?
Hey, Pete.
At Oklahoma?
I thought about talking about the one at Georgia Southern. Go Eagles.
Colt Brennan? I mean,
Okay, cut his mic.
he was a great quarterback at Hawaii.
Now you know what amazed me about this list is I divided them up by conference. How many SEC and how many ACC and how many Big 12? 7 SEC, but also 7 ACC.
That leaves like 3 Big Ten.
3 Big 10, 5 Big 12, 2 Pac 12, and 1 other, being Khalil Mack out of Buffalo.
And the Pac-12
Mac.
got first and second.
And the Pac 10.
The Big 12 got first and second. They only had 5 people, and they got 1 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And 3 of them were Oklahoma. Yeah.
Would Reggie Bush have been higher if he still had a Heisman?
He does.
He does have it.
He
They
does
gave it
have
back
a
to him.
They finally gave it back to him.
Yeah, I think Reggie he's about where he needed to be. Yeah,
Is he the highest ranked running back?
probably.
So there you
In the
go.
last year.
I don't think there's a problem with Reggie Bush being there. I mean,
No.
he was as dynamic as you could get, and when you think about him catching balls out of the backfield, what a scary sight it was when when Leinart or Carson would fake the handoff, and you'd see 5 slip into the flat. It's like, oh, bro, who's covering him out there? Nobody. No.
Amazing to me that there are only 2 running backs on this top 25 list.
It is. It's kind of one of those weird things, I guess. People devalue the running back position so much, but going back to the thing about the Big 12 only having how many?
Big 12 had
5?
5.
3 of the top 4.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's move on to our last commercial. We got some pro football predictions to make. American Axis.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Axis has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Axis and their 3 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, and downtown at the Works are waiting for you. Each and every location is conveniently and not coincidentally located next to a brewery. Look us up at American Axis or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And we thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the 3 Guys Who Love Sports. And, it's almost time for me to start making some picks, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I know it's one of your favorite segments of the show.
I know. I love it when he's swinging an axe next to me.
All right. So, we skipped over the AFC East so Robert could be a part of it because he's a big Bills fan. So let's get into the Buffalo Bills. Lost their receiving core almost totally. I think they've got 1 out of 6 receivers that was on the squad last year.
29th most vacated targets.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, second most vacated targets in the NFL.
Wow.
It's crazy. And, they had Valdez Scantling went there.
VCS. Yeah.
And they're already talking about he's going to probably get cut.
Oh, really?
He's looked that bad compared to everybody else who's out there. So maybe it's one of those things where you got nothing and people are actually working harder, thinking, hey, I could be this guy. I don't have to worry about not being better than Diggs. But
They did get Curtis Samuel, who's a pretty good receiver.
And it doesn't necessarily have to go to Curtis Samuel. A lot of it could go to James Cook, or it could end up going a lot to the tight ends as well with Kincaid.
Well, Kincaid did well last year, and hopefully he takes another step forward. But you still got to have somebody. If you have somebody who's going deep down the field, then it makes it a lot easier for Cook and Kincaid. And we'll see what they end up having. I'm not real sold on
your Bills this year.
on the wide receiver staff. No.
Yeah. Well, Allen's going to have to build a great rapport with those guys in a pretty quick fashion because when you replace 5 out of your 6 receivers, that's a whole new adjustment you got to make. Now, I did hear what John Elway said about Josh Allen. His biggest regret is not drafting him in 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy to look back now, right?
He doesn't have a job anymore. So, yeah. It's like, man, I'd had a freaking job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think their window of opportunity is coming to a close
Oh,
as well.
Lord.
Josh Allen, they owe him $60 million next year.
If it was one of those old screen doors at your grandma's house, like goes about halfway before it resets a little bit, we're already to that halfway spot. He's got 2 years, I would say, with all the contact he's been taking over the years. He's got 2 years. Could he win something in 3 years from now? If they got some really good players, but not with this kind of stuff.
He could make it a little bit longer if he became a drop back passer and only a drop back passer. But
Well-
he runs too much.
Well, he does, but that's the reason why
That's
they
his
win.
style, yeah,
That's the reason why
absolutely.
they win.
All right.
Not with Curtis Samuel as your wide receiver one.
Ding,
So,
ding, ding, ding.
so let's move down to South Beach and talk about the Dolphins. They got a lot of speed down there.
They got a quarterback now for 4 more years.
Yeah, I saw his little boy creep in on the back of the press conference. Did you see that?
I did
Little
not.
1-year little boy walking around behind him at the press conference. Yep, signed Tua for a big contract. The defense have taken a couple of flowers on Jordan Pryor and Calais Campbell for the Falcons. Left to go down to Miami, play in the sun.
To me, last year, Mostert and A-Chain, they were pretty good. I don't think anybody thought they would be as good as they were. For me, can they be that good again? Because they've got the weapons. Their top 2 wide receivers are the top 2 wide receivers in football, as far as a pair.
Tariq Hill got a 99 rating.
Is that what he got on?
Yeah,
And he
on Madden.
deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why wouldn't you get it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tua had the most passing yards last year. I think that if he at least stays in that range, we should see a bounce back from Jalen Waddle as well, because he was hurt. He was playing through injury a lot last year.
Yeah,
Yes, he was.
To me, they've got more speed than anybody in the NFL. They're a fast football team. All right, how about Sean and his Jets?
Jets.
Your backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
He's been around.
Jets fans, I got one thing to tell you. Your starting quarterback's going to make it more than 5 plays. I don't know what that means in the long run, but I think he'll be there longer than 5
Maybe
plays
6
this year.
plays.
At least,
Robert,
maybe.
did you know that Aubrey's a big Bills fan?
I like that about her.
I know. There you go. Yeah.
He's a Jets fan.
We know.
Oh, yeah, we know. We
Yeah.
talk about
so,
it.
but the Jets have a shot. if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy,
Brees-
as Robert said, Brees Hall.
Brees Hall.
They got Garrett Wilson. They got a couple other wide receivers out there.
Braylon Allen.
Yeah, Braylon Allen.
But everything's coming off of Brees Hall. If Brees Hall can run, Sean might be able to play quarterback. Because once again, Garrett Wilson's going to be open. It's one of those things. If my jab is really good, then I can do all sorts of things with my right. And Brees Hall is a hell of a jab over and over.
Well, they got
and
Mike
over.
Williams from San Diego. Nice little piece. I think the whole key to the Jets' success
Health.
is the health of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. It's kind of weird that he didn't show up at camp for some unexplicable reasons.
Because he has
probably
been
another
showing
dark
up to
hole
camp
he's been
for the
sitting in.
last 20 years.
Yeah, but it seems like he should be there. I don't know.
I know,
Just
but
me.
you probably thought he should be there last year. And
Did you
the year
guys see the
before, and
video
year
on
before, and
Twitter
the year
of-
before and the year before?
Was it Aaron Rodgers fussed at Garrett Wilson?
No,
He
I
said
heard about it. I
he
didn't
said
see it,
you
though.
should have run a zig and you ran a zag, and Garrett Wilson said, well, you should have been at camp.
No, hey, and Garrett Wilson's right.
Yeah.
It's one thing if everybody has a familiarity with each other to where it's okay if I don't, because we already know. You don't. This is what it's for. So, but yeah, Aaron's famous for that. Shows up when he wants to.
And we have now the probably the doorstep of the AFC East, the New England Patriots.
I think the doorstep. The Jets only have a quarterback for 1 more year. So, it's hard to predict
Beyond,
the future for
yeah.
them. They've got a great running back. They could be really good for a long time. I don't see this team getting out of the basement for quite some time.
a while.
I think it'll be the doorstep and the mat that goes on it, but I think the Jets and the Patriots are.
Well, but once again, the Patriots don't, you'd say anything to a Patriot, can you guys run the ball? Are you kidding? We got that guy from Ole Miss, and it's like, yeah, he hadn't done a whole heck of a lot, to where, I'm falling over on it. What about your wide receiving core? Well, they're pretty good too. Are they?
They've got a bunch of wide receiver threes, Pop Douglas.
Douglas
Bolt,
and Bourne are your top two.
Kendrick Bourne. I will draft Kendrick Bourne this year.
Juju's still
Well, I
floating
guess I'm
around.
not drafting. But if I were, I would draft Kendrick Bourne
So,
this year.
but they've still got Stevenson, right? And they picked up another running back. Who's the other running back they got?
Running backs for them. Where am I at? New England. Gibson. They got
Yeah,
Gibson
Antonio
out of
Gibson
the Commanders.
from Washington. Yeah,
But at the end of the day,
but that's all they've got.
they don't have. And we're talking about them as if maybe they got a line. They haven't got a line either.
No, they don't have anything.
So you have questionable at best at all of the important positions and.
So Gibson and Stevenson are it. I mean, is Drake May going to start? Or now Jacoby Brissett used to start in New England, and then he went to where? Indianapolis? Is that where he went from New England? And he started at Indy some, and now he's back for a second tour at New England.
Well, New England does have a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a train because they've got the second hardest strength of schedule. They're projected 4.5 wins, and they're underdogs in every single game.
Jalen Milrow.
Jalen Milrow. There you go. Next year.
Well, but you look at what they did this year, and they took 2 quarterbacks, and most team, that hasn't, you'd say, fared well or whatever else, but the last one I can remember was when the Commanders took RG3 and Kirk Cousins, and everybody laughed. Why would you take Kirk Cousins? Well, it's because, as it turns out, he's going to be around for another 10 extra years and dominate. And
RG3's calling games on ESPN.
And I look at New England now. Obviously, Jacoby Brissett, he is presentable. He knows
He's
how
serviceable.
He's serviceable. But then you get to Drake May. I think Milton will take that job from May in a half heartbeat because once again, there's no options. It's not like he's throwing to anybody good. So it's a garbage fire.
All right, so let's make our picks. Who comes in fourth in the AFC East?
New England.
Anybody
agree
from
this
Southie.
Patriots? Yeah. All right, so we all say New England. How about third?
Bills.
I have to go with that. I'm going to have to say
Jets.
the Bills too.
I think they're going to tie. I think they will be tied. I'll go ahead and I'll throw the Bills in third. All right.
Number
I think Brees
two.
is going to be that good.
Number 2,
Bills.
Jets.
I like the
I
Jets
think that's their ceiling.
at number 2.
That's if we keep a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
I think with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, they're one. But that's a long, long stretch.
As long as they can figure out zigs and zags, which they clearly don't know yet.
And a Colt 45.
Yeah, that's a little. That was a little disheartening.
Love the reference.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so that's really it. And so I obviously have the Dolphins winning the AFC East.
Yep.
One of the
So we're exactly the same.
Yeah, McDaniels is going to be amazing. Like, he's a great coach.
He's the coolest coach. Adam says
Yes,
he's
he is.
the
He is the coolest
NFL.
coach in the NFL.
Short Kings.
but if that team has any issues,
Where is it?
I don't know.
Tua getting hurt.
Defense.
Van
Yeah.
Ginkel in the linebacking core.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm with you
They
guys.
lost,
I think
they lost
he's the
Christian
coolest
Wilkins
coach.
to the Raiders, right? And somebody had Robert Hunt to the Panthers. So they lost 2 of their defensive studs. Robert Hunt is a right guard, not a defensive guy. But
And you got to hope that Tua remembers all of those things that he learned before last season that kept him upright the whole time. Because if we go
that he
back
learned
to
in jiu-jitsu or whatever it was he took.
well, yeah, he learned how to fall. Exactly.
Yeah,
He took some martial arts so he could learn how to fall better, which is what it takes. Because is their backup still the guy from the Jets, the old guy from the Jets?
Zach
No, I
Wilson.
thought
Mike
it was.
White.
Mike
It is
White?
Mike White.
Yeah.
I thought it was the kid from Kansas State.
Skylar Thompson is
Yep.
number 3.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. All
Which
right.
he could probably pass him.
All right. Well, all right. We've come to the end of our ropes here. We do want to mention real quick, our fantasy football league will crank up. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will have our draft. Next week on our 5 o'clock show, on this show, we will be selecting for draft order. So if you're out there, the 12 people that are having a team, including 4 of us, if Chaz is going to be one of them.
I very well could be. I could definitely be.
We don't need this very well crap. We need to know, are you in or are you out?
Am I
That's
the
what
12th man? I'll be the 12th man.
All right, Chaz is in then. All right, so we'll be drawing for draft position next week, and the following week we will be having our draft right here at Miller's on August the 15th at 7 o'clock out on the patio. If you want to come join us for a night of fun and frivolity. Now,
I read something on the bathroom wall that said Will Renfro might actually run the whole draft for us.
I want to talk to Will about that. We're going to do that
It's a
as soon as we
possibility.
get off the air.
Something
I think
I
that
read.
would be a blast.
I mean, I wrote it too, but that's a
and
different story.
also make note that 2 weeks from tonight is our 100th Kennesaw State show. So if you've been on a KSU show, it's just hard to believe that we've been doing it 2 years. If you've been on the KSU show, we would love to have you out on the 14th.
Coaches, current players, former players.
Laura Manis, if you're out there, you're our first guest. We'd love you.
We'd love
back.
to have you on that 100th show.
And I'm going to reach out to you. I know you've moved from being my neighbor, but we can still talk. So look forward to that show 2 weeks from the night. And until then, Chaz, thanks, man, for coming on.
Absolutely.
Hope you had
Appreciate y'all
fun.
having me. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, till then, guys, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week right here on Three Guys Who Love Sports.
See ya.